everybody, my name is Luke Mar and this is Hot Lamode, and today on Hot Lamode we are coming to you with the 2021 BAFTAs red carpet review. If you don't know what the BAFTAs are, join the club. I'm pretty positive it's like the British Acting, Film, Television Awards. If it is, great. If it isn't, I'm not Googling the name. Don't be offended, British people and or BAFTAs, because I only just learned what the SAG Awards meant, and so now I only think of them as the SAGgy Awards. But we're gonna be talking about all of the red carpet looks that came out from many of your favorite British actors, actresses, musicians, other British people that do stuff. Like, it happened, okay? So with that, let's just get straight into the video. I should probably mention that there are also people that are not British in this video, just as an FYI. First up, let's talk about Alan Kim. Now, he is, in my opinion, the star of the hit movie Minari, and he is wearing Thom Browne. And listen, like, let's get the kids off right to bat. Like, let's just do it. He's wearing a cute little gray suit. I love the little cuff at the bottom of the pant. I love the suit jacket. I love the tie. I like the shirt. I like the black shoes. To me, this is like quintessential nice Thom Browne suiting, and I like to see it for kids. I will say I'm sure that that suit costs more than my whole savings account, but I think it looks really dashing on him. I think he looks so sweet. I think it perfectly channels that American sort of dreary corporate culture that Thom Browne is always taking on, and I think he looks dapper and dashing. Listen, he looks so cute. It's so great. I'm happy for it. Next up is Andra Day, and she is wearing Ellie Saab. Now, this is a interesting dress. So the color, listen, it's fine. It's a green. It's there. It's happening. I do have to say, the way that this backless sort of style is piped in this gold chain that also becomes a semi sort of halter style and then descends down the back as well is actually, in my opinion, the most exciting part about the dress. I do think it's actually really lovely. I do think it allows a sort of different material to take center stage. Obviously the green is there. It's just sort of simple. It's sort of, you know, not the most interestingly cut and or exciting fabric, but I do think that the gold sort of chains all around do help a lot. Something about the color just sort of throws me off. I feel like the gold and the green gives me more leprechaun than it does sort of like fun, cool red carpet that I want, like the glamour, the opulence. And like, my last name is Mar. It's Irish, so like, I'm allowed to say that, no offense, the leprechaun isn't exactly like a style icon by any means, and like, it's a little bit tackle. So the thing is, the green and the gold, it doesn't really work in that regard. I do think had it been like a black, that could have been really chic and elegant and wonderful and beautiful, and I think that the gold and the black would have played off of each other very, very well. I love what's going on with the chains. The color of the dress and also just the cut of it isn't that exciting, and so I'm not obsessed. Next up is Anna Kendrick, and she is wearing Zuhair Murad. It is a sort of shimmery red and coppery grayish pleated dress with a high slit. I don't know what it is about Anna Kendrick. It's just not ever interesting or exciting or riveting or interesting. It's usually just derivative. I don't mind the pulled bust. I think that it plays really well off of the pleated skirt. I think that sort of all works together. I don't even like hate the colors. I do sort of like the ombre from the red into that. Is it like a mauve? Is it like it's like a chromey sort of color? I think that's kind of okay, but it's just not wow. And you know, you would think that like the gathering and the colors and that would make it wow, and it doesn't. It's just sort of a plain Jane dress, in my opinion. Obviously, I have very strange standards for what is considered plain Jane in my world, but it's just not crazy. I don't hate it. I'll be completely honest. I don't hate it. I don't think it's like a terrible dress. I think it has really interesting elements, but I just don't think it's much to write home about. You know what I mean? Next up is Barry Keoghan, and he is wearing Gucci. Now, this is a blue suit. I believe this is custom. I couldn't find it anywhere. And it has a quite simple little pink cropped sweater vest. It looks like it's an argyle sort of style. And then underneath is a blue and white striped button-down shirt that comes out from underneath this little sweater vest. Honestly, like, it's there, it's happening. Is it really that exciting? Is it really that interesting? Is it really, you know, something that I'm loving? No, it's just, it's happening. Do I wish it was happening in a more exciting way? Absolutely. I don't think it's bad, but like, meh. I do like the shirt. I like the sweater. I'm not even mad about the suit per se. I'm kind of mad about the shoes. Like black shoes with a blue suit and white and blue shirt and pink sweater. Like I'm not getting that part. It's just blah, blah. It's there. It's whatever. It's happening. I'm not mad about it. Like, listen, can Gucci sell a bunch of suits? I'm sure they can. Would I like to see something that's a bit more exciting, a bit more interesting, a bit more, I don't know, Alessandro Michele-esque and cool and freaky and weird? Absolutely. Actually, that's what I would prefer. Next up is Bucky Bacrae, and she is wearing Prada. This is like not, I'm sorry, this is like not a great red carpet moment going on here for anybody so far, except Alan Kim. Alan Kim is killing it. I feel bad because I don't know her, and so I don't want to absolutely rip her apart, but like that's a fugly ass dress. Sorry, Prada, it's not good. And I'm not here to take the ugly chic thing today. It doesn't have any Prada elements that I'm like, oh, you know, Prada reference, cool. Like there's no saving this. It's a pink, silky dress that has like weird pleats at the strapless angle. It like pulls up. It's just giving me bridesmaid. And that's so sad because it's Prada. And like, listen, if I'm gonna be a Prada bridesmaid, let me tell you, I'm gonna be very, very chic, very, very weird and very, very interesting. And I'm gonna look good, yet peculiar, but good. This is bad and very peculiar, but bad. It looks like you could have got it at the Say Yes to the Dress Atlanta store. And like, that's not really a compliment that you wanna be giving out to one of the most esteemed luxury brands on the face of the planet. It's just not cute. The strapless moment is blah. The fact that that fold over looks like it was just wrapped around her. You know what I mean? Like I probably could have done that. Give me a couple pins, safety, because that's much easier. Give me a couple of minutes and a mannequin, and I could have done that. Really, truly. Like I could have ruffled it. I could have left my weird fabric drape over. At least like give me a little bit of Roman antiquity, like a little over the shoulder, a little bit wrap around, a little bit flowy, a little bit flouncy. This is just bad prom dress. And not even prom. This is bad junior prom dress. I will say, Bucky, I'm so sorry. I don't know you and I don't dislike you, but no. Next up is Celeste, and she is wearing Delara Findigolu. Honestly, I have to say when I first saw this, I fully thought it was Prada, and then I was quickly corrected, so thank you. I like this. This is weird, this is funky, this is like super duper out there, but I also like that Celeste consistently sort of gives us weird, funky, just like out there, and she kind of delivers on it. So let's break it down. There's a square sort of bust, and we're getting a sort of high, ruffly sleeve. There's like a full glove attached. And to me, it's sort of giving like a square bust line with like leg of mutton sleeve. It's old-timey, but weird. There's what I would presume is like a moire silk, because you can see it almost looks like a beautiful bit of oil left in water, and it sort of creates that like weird style. And that's how I always think about moire. It looks like there's something done to it. Maybe it's just the color, this like strange sort of aquamarine, green, blue moment, but it looks like it's almost been like manipulated a little bit, which I'm kind of into. There's a halter necklace, black flowers, which, you know what? Delara has said in the past that she loves dead things, and so I think this makes sense, and if that's the case, I'm not opposed to it. It's a brand trope, I'll take it. I do actually think that it plays into the little black embroideries that are attached to each of these like skirt strips, which again, I like a skirt strip. I feel like it's fun. And I like the fact that there's that little sheer sort of chiffon-y piece that falls out from underneath. Do we need it? No. Would I maybe preferred it a little bit more with just, you know, the strips, because it would have been a little bit more free, a little bit more funky, a little bit more out there? Absolutely. But I also don't totally hate the black underneath. Honestly, altogether, it's super duper weird. It's super duper strange. I don't really get it, but I do also kind of sort of get it. And so in that regard, I'm happy with this. There's a lot to work through with a look like this, but you feel better off. It's like a workout. During it, you're like, oh God, this is terrible, I hate my life. But then when you're sort of at the end, you're like, oh, I feel better for having done that. And that's how I feel about this dress. At first, very daunting. By the end of it, I feel like it is kind of hot. I kind of love it. I'm kind of about it. I think it's fun. I'm not mad about it. Celeste is always taking a risk, and I appreciate that. Next up is Corinne Bailey Rae, and she's wearing Duro Oluwu. We're getting a sort of simple strap dress. It's black and is no doubt woven and or printed with some sort of metallic purple flower motif all throughout. Honestly, it's a bit simple for me. Something about it isn't particularly exciting or interesting. I feel like you could pick this up anywhere. It definitely reads like an Erdem sort of floral, like a Zimmerman as well. Like they're all sort of like grouped in there. And that's my issue with it. There's nothing that like screams Duro Oluwu to me. And that's sort of the disappointing part. I've been listening to a lot of Duro Oluwu interviews recently. And I feel like there just could be a little bit more excitement, a little bit more interest. I'm not obsessed with the ruffle flounce that sort of falls over. I feel like it's a way to sort of create more of an interesting silhouette, and so like I can't appreciate that. I do feel like the way that the ruffle sort of flows down just doesn't help sort of create a good enough shape. Like the interest is there, the experimentation is there, thank you, but it's just meh. And overall, I feel like I, again, could just find this at any other brand, and that's not really what I want or what I need, and just overall, it's a bit blah. And also those shoes. Guys, whoever put Corinne in these shoes, what was the reason? What was the idea? What was the concept? I'm not understanding. A black latex boot, like a thigh high, could have been really fun. Just a regular black boot could have been fun. Something purple, something, you know, skin tight that sort of went into the dress so we wouldn't have to really look at those shoes. The short ankle length booty with a like 3-inch heel. Why? And even if Corinne was like, I don't want to walk in a high heel, that's fine. I respect that. A boot, a platform boot. You know what there is? A plethora of platforms. There was a lot that could have been done here, and this was what we chose, and I'm not understanding it. I'm rather upset about it. So overall, Corinne, again, we have not met. I am so sorry, but like, no, it's not good. It's not good. Terrible. Next up is Cynthia Erivo, and she is wearing Louis Vuitton. Now, this is a look from the fall 2021 collection. Now, Nicolas Ghesquière has been doing a lot of sort of silver and gold as of late, and we've actually seen Cynthia Erivo in already a silver and gold Louis Vuitton look before. Honestly, I don't hate this. Weirdly enough, I would think that I would hate it, but when I look at it, I'm not super duper mad about it. The collar, I love. And I like the way that the sort of straps come down and under the underarms and then sort of back up into the dress. I think it's cool. I think it's different. It has sort of like a mosaic-y vibe, and I'm into that. I don't love the top part. I'm not obsessed with it. I do find interest in those little rectangular cutouts, which have little silver threads coming through. Like I'd like to actually see and feel and touch the dress to like get a vibe of it. But something about the way that the skirt and the top meet is so sharp that I kind of love it. The thing about the skirt and the top that is very interesting to me and how it meets is the fact that as we get closer and closer to the waist, it sort of tapers down and creates a slimmer shape at the waist, because that's usually the narrowest part of the body. But as soon as we hit the waist, this gold skirt just sort of like juts out and creates this definitely exaggerated hip shape. I kind of like it. There's something about this like weird juxtaposition that is so dramatic that it sort of works. And I do think that the shape of the skirt, the fact that it sort of juts out far further than the hips actually do, it doesn't create a panier effect, but it definitely creates an exaggerated effect, which I do find to be quite interesting. Overall, is it my favorite Cynthia Erivo look that I've ever seen in my entire life? Absolutely not. But I do not hate it. I'm sober. I have not taken anything tonight. I genuinely am just kind of interested by the look. So I don't know, I'm not mad about it. Next up is Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and she is wearing Louis Vuitton. Now this is from like a pre-fall collection from a few years ago. And by a few, I mean like a year ago, but to me, in the world of fashion, 3 weeks ago feels like 16 years. It's just like it never stops. But this dress, it could actually be quite nice. It's very sort of simplistic. Obviously, it's not simplistic because it's very heavily done in terms of embroideries. It's almost like little explosions of silver, which it's fine, I guess. Is it amazing, wonderful, spectacular? No, but it's fine. My issue really with it comes in at the sort of sheer netting, which to me isn't really sheer. And this is a problem that I thought maybe we had solved. Maybe we had sort of like, I don't know, fixed a little bit. But when when the sheer does not match the wearer's body and their skin tone, it's just not good. It's very evident that it doesn't match. I can literally see the lighter lines in there. It makes the shade of her sort of torso area lighter. When you see it against her neck and against her arms, it's just like, I don't understand. And listen, I'm not a stylist, but I don't think it's like a super duper complicated thing to, I don't know, tea stain. You put some tea in, you dip the netting in, easy peasy. Louis Vuitton could have also done that. All you have to do is tea stain it a little bit till it matches or semi-matches. It's not that hard. And I feel like more and more textile developers and textile mills are starting to develop these sheer aspects in different skin tones. So like Louis Vuitton, I'm pretty positive you can afford it. I don't understand why we did this. I'm just disappointed in it. I think that it could be done much, much better. It's not like it's a current sample either. Listen, if it was like fall 2021 and Louis Vuitton only made one sample, I'd be able to sit there and say like, okay, we made one sample, we couldn't exactly tea stain it, but like, are we really gonna pull this dress out in a year or two and like send it off to be worn? I don't think so. I think it's gonna go into a different little archive or a closet somewhere. I think tea staining it would not have been the most reprehensible thing I've ever heard of in my entire life. Also, I have to say, I actually kind of like the waist detail, because listen, again, I think designers oftentimes like to highlight the waist. It's a way to sort of create this hourglass figure. Should people be creating hourglass figures? It's a different story. I can't do that today. But I'm not mad about this waist detail because it actually utilizes the embroidery to create a motif that wraps around the waist, and it's not a belt. That's the thing. It's nice. It works. There's a lot of handwork that most definitely went into this dress. Like, I even like the length of it. I think it's just like a nice, simple cut dress, but that sheer top situation is just too much, far too much for me. And so I'm upset for Gugu Mbatha-Raw. She deserves better. She deserves a tea stain. That's all. It's not a lot. Next up is Kingsley Ben-Adir, and he is wearing Dior Men. Listen, I like when men sort of go and they don't do the basic boring suiting. I do. I genuinely do. I respect it. And listen, I think that this is actually a good way to go about that. Is it still formal? Yeah, I really truly do think it is. You have the lapels there. It almost looks like it's double-breasted, but the lapels are sort of pulled to the side. It's asymmetrical. Listen, I don't like a belt. I don't, but like men experimenting with belts in suiting, I'm not mad about it, Kim Jones. You do you. I'll take it. I think that the jacket fits really well. Like the sleeve just looks impeccable. I think the jacket is just the right length. It's a pretty decent jacket. I'm not obsessed with the pants, but that's my thing about the wide leg pant. I'm not really understanding why we're loving it so much, but the brands are. Do I think that if you're doing a wide leg pant like that, maybe a boot would have been better? I think so. That's just my opinion, because I don't think that a sharp toe little black loafer exactly like pulls that all together. I think a boot would actually, I don't know, accentuate just a little bit more. I think it would pull together that sort of, not formality, but that sort of like new formality, that nouveau formality that I think menswear brands can sort of bring in. And I think Dior is a good brand to do it. Overall, I'm not really mad about it. Would I choose a different shoe? Absolutely. But besides that, I think that it's a good way to sort of take a very sort of formal style and give it something a little bit new, a little bit different, a little bit update. Do I love the shoe? Absolutely not. But I do think that this suit is a really good blueprint for a lot of brands to realize that you do not have to make a boring ass suit every single time. You can make it interesting. You can do little tweaks and twitches and still keep it pretty formal, still keep it a bit black tie-esque, and I will take this. Next up is Kosher Ali, and she is wearing Alexander McQueen. Now, this is a sort of interesting take on Alexander McQueen. I think that it sort of perfectly combines Alexander McQueen, the designer's history, with the new sort of light, very simplistic and sort of flowy feminine style of Sarah Burton. So first up, you have a cropped white blazer. Tailoring is a signature sort of Alexander McQueen staple. If you do not know that, go watch one of our Alexander McQueen videos. We explain it. It's very important. It's sort of his gig, or was his gig. RIP to a legend. So there's a turtleneck underneath and then some sort of flowy, chiffon-y dress that's been manipulated calculated and stitched through so it almost looks like there's layers throughout it. Honestly, I'm not really mad about it. I think Sarah Burton sort of brings a much more wearable, more commercial, less sort of severe style to Alexander McQueen, but still sort of keeps in line the McQueen traditions. There is this sort of mixture between masculine tailoring and feminine sort of flow. It's something that, while predominantly Lee's work was about sort of this really severe, strict tailoring that showcased the body, there was this sort of flow and sort of feminine drape and movement that he learned while he was working at Givenchy, which I think he then sort of started to bring into his own brand once he left the iconic French house. Overall, I don't think it's revolutionary. There's, you know, not a whole lot of Alexander McQueen I do think now that's revolutionary. Do I think that it nods to the brand's history? Do I think that it's something that people that are actually looking at this red carpet might say, oh, I could actually probably buy that? Yeah. And so in that regard, it's there. Is it amazing? No. Is it something that I'm mad to look at? Also, no. Next up is Laj Lee, and he is wearing Dior Men. There's quite a lot of Dior Men on this red carpet. Listen, do I like this sort of jacket of what looks like a fur of some sort? Maybe it's faux. I'm not really sure if Dior still uses fur. Some brands do, some brands don't. But it looks like there's some sort of ribbing moment going on there all throughout the jacket in a vertical style. Do I love it? It's fine, I guess. It's not something I would particularly be drawn to, but it is interesting to see a different sort of textile like a fur and or a faux fur, I don't know which it is really, on a red carpet or in a sort of red carpet context. Do I love it paired with the navy blue turtleneck and the wide leg pant? No, it's just not exciting. It's not really interesting. It's not really My thing is, while I don't always hate when somebody steps outside of the box in a red carpet moment, I'd prefer they stepped outside of the box in a more exciting way. I do think there are better Dior Men looks that could have actually been implemented here. I mean, those really nice tailored sort of suits that were like military inspired with the piping from the fall 2021 collection were actually really lovely. Do I love this shoe choice? Also no. Again, not really great. Kim Jones, I know you're very busy doing a lot of things, but if we could work on some nice boots over there at Dior, that would be very helpful. Would really enjoy that. Overall, not obsessed, not really interested. Is it nice to see a different textile? Yeah, but Next up is Leslie Odom Jr., honestly a style star that I have come to appreciate more and more. Now, he wore two different looks. The first one is Versace, the second one is also Versace. So let's talk about it. The first one is the monogram. If you have not seen our review of the Milan Fall 2021 shows for Fashion Week, I suggest you go watch it, but we explored the history and the influences of the new Versace monogram. Now, it's most definitely inspired by the Versace Medusa head and the Greek key patterns that surround said head. Long story short, Gianni Versace hanging out in ruins in Reggio Calabria, he saw the Greek meandering patterns, he said, oh wow, so nice, let me do that, and now here we are. I think that the monogram does not hit in the way we want it still. Do I mind seeing it particularly here? No, I think the way that it's shot with this yellow background definitely helps. I feel like it plays off of the yellow monogram shirt button down underneath the suit. Do I think the red actually looks kind of good off the yellow? Yeah, it's fine, I guess. I'm not mad about it. Do I think that the brown sweater vest needed to be there? No, I'm good. We could have just left that at home. I think the yellow socks with the black shoes are okay, and maybe had we incorporated some sort of like black moment over the shirt and under the suit instead of the brown moment, maybe we could have played those things all together a little bit more. Listen, Leslie Odom Jr. always takes a risk. I think it's a very sort of calculated move to wear the Versace monogram, and I don't think he's doing a bad job in it. It's not the worst Versace monogram look that I've ever seen. Will I take it? Yeah, I guess so. Do I love it? No. Is it a way for Versace to get the monogram in front of more people's faces? Yes. And is that a smart business strategy? Also yes. And so like, I guess that's smart business. Next up is Leslie, and he is wearing a red and blue ensemble. Now, it is a red sort of trench coat style that is thrown over the shoulders with a sort of bright blue suit, and then a red and turquoise turtleneck pattern motif going on underneath, and then the same sort of shoes with red socks. I like the matching of the socks to the rest of the look. I actually think it's kind of cute. I think it's very smart. The stylist very on top of it. Do I love this? No, I don't. Again, I don't think this is as good as the monogram look. I do think the colors are really, really nice. I do think he looks really lovely in them. Do I wish that the turtleneck sort of matched the suit color? Yes. But overall, I don't think it's particularly interesting. It's just a lot of layering that not discombobulated, but also not compelling either. So overall, listen, I love that Leslie is taking risks. I'm happy about it. Do I hope that he gets to wear more Versace looks in the future that are more interesting? Absolutely. Next up is Maria Bakalova in Armani Privé. Now, this is a sort of chiffon dress. It's full of sequins. It's full, maybe it's not sequins, maybe it's just embroideries, but it's a really quite sweetly done dress. Listen, normally I don't really gravitate towards this kind of style. It's a little bit too princessy for me, a little bit prom, but I like the straps. I like the sort of scoop neck cut of the neckline. I think that's really, really lovely, and I like the way that it's piped in this sort of interesting pink color. I do think that the bust is full of embroidery. You can see it in there, all those little sort of crystals and shiny bits and pieces. The little motifs of like red and pink and blue are interesting. I don't think that they're atrocious, which is good. I do think the fact that the bustier aspect sort of works really well and doesn't give it away that there's a chiffon sort of overlay that falls out. I do think that the torso and the skirt aspect of the dress do sort of work together well. It's very smart to have a sort of torso area that coincides with the skirt that's there. I personally think that from torso to hem, it flows kind of well. I like the fact that we have this sort of exaggerated hip moment again. I do think it seems like we're seeing a bit of that, and maybe that's a trend, who knows. But I don't think that there's such a juxtaposition between the top and the bottom of the dress, which oftentimes happens with dresses like these. Also, it's like Armani Privé, which is haute couture. And so in that regard, I kind of would hope that there isn't such a discombobulation between the two. I think that the skirt is nice. I'm sure it's full of very expensive embroidery. I'm sure that dress costs a fat check. Maybe, you know, a small island or two could be sold to buy it. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's a nice dress. Again, not obsessed, not dying over it, you know. Would I pay for it? No. But I do think that she looks nice and sweet in it, and it's a little bit more colorful for Armani Privé too. So I'll take it. Next up is Pedro Pascal, and he is wearing Prada. Now this is from like the Resort 2021 collection, I believe, or pre-fall, something in there. I like this. I like a long sort of jacket. It's a coat almost, some may say. I think it fits really, really nice. It looks like it's made out of a nice black wool. There's a very interesting button down there as well in white underneath, and then a fitted black pant and a shoe. Do I love the shoe? No. But I do have to say, honestly, I think that it's very minimal for Prada, but early Prada collections were very minimal, and so I don't hate it in that regard, and it felt like that collection that this is from was definitely a callback to the sort of streamlined, simplistic, minimalistic Miuccia Prada of yesteryear. I personally think there are elements of this look that somebody might see and say, oh, I'd like that. I would actually buy that. And while yes, I do love a fantasy, I do thrive on a fantasy moment on a red carpet, I do think that this is different than just your regular schmegular suit. Is it totally different? Is it revolutionary? No, but it definitely is not just a boring ass black suit. The coat fits really, really beautifully. I would wear the shit out of that coat. I'm happy with this. I'm fine with it. Would I prefer also like a little bit of a better shoe? Yes, but happy. Next up is Phoebe Dynevor, which honestly, I can't say that without thinking of dinosaur, but she's not a dinosaur. She's very lovely. So Daphne the Duchess is wearing a custom Louis Vuitton look. Listen, it is a blah look for Louis Vuitton, but at the same time, considering like the over-the-top, crazy, kooky, out there Nicolas Ghesquière looks at Louis Vuitton, like, you know what? Good to see range. It is a one-sleeved, asymmetrical black gown. It's fitted. The sleeve is a bit tighter around the bicep, and then as it gets to the forearm, it sort of gets bigger and bolder. It's almost like a reverse, like a mutton sleeve, which I don't really love. You know, if you can try and sell me on it, I'll listen to the pitch, but doesn't mean I'm gonna buy, no. Do I think that the skirt of the gown is really great with those pleats? No. Also, nah, it's not really, you know, there either. And also like that weird sort of asymmetrical style. I don't know, you could have put it on the other side and they sort of even each other out in like the weirdo factor, but it just feels very heavy on one side and very sort of blah on the other. My thing is, I think that had the sleeve fitted a lot better, I would have been very happy. I also think that had we just had a really beautifully fitted gown, I also would have been pretty happy. Also, I don't want to see the zipper. You see it? You see the zipper. You see it. It's right there. I don't want to see that. I really don't. It's Louis Vuitton. Again, Louis Vuitton. I shouldn't have to see the zipper. To some, is it a beautiful, simplistic Louis Vuitton dress? Absolutely. And for you, I guess I'm happy. But for me, I want more. I want better. Next up is Priyanka Chopra, and she is wearing Ronald van der Kemp. Now, this is from the fall 2020 collection, and honestly, I like it. I like the shape of the dress. I like the sleeves. I like the way they bump up. I like the deep little plunging neckline moment, and I like the way that the sort of collar sticks up just a little bit. I do not love the fact that up top we sort of have a silky fabric. You can see the sort of light shining off of it, but I do think that the sort of crepey skirt is actually really, really nice. It allows the hips and then the legs to sort of create this very odd but like flamingo-esque shape, which I think is really, really lovely. And the butterfly wing explosion at the waist, I think definitely allows that juxtaposition to not be super duper obvious, but I do sort of wish that the fabrics were the same, but I know they couldn't be the same because you couldn't get a crepe to really form like that, and you couldn't really get a silk to create that sort of clingy feel. So we're at a crossroads here, but I'm still gonna complain about it. Overall though, I actually like it. I like the shape that the black creates both up top and bottom. If I have to really give up the fact that they're the same fabric, I could do that. I don't hate the butterfly pizzazz. Is it something that I think is like crazy amazing? No, but at the same time, it's out there, it's kooky, it's haute couture, I guess. I'm fine with it. I'm not really mad about it. I think it's interesting and I like the shape and I like the silhouette. But then Priyanka wore this Pertegaz look from the fall 2020 collection. Now, Pertegaz is a brand I don't really know a lot about, but I did read a little bit. Pertegaz essentially was one of like the leading haute couturiers of the 1960s in Spain. I guess Balenciaga did close, what, late 50s, early 60s? So I guess Pertegaz took over. Also, I read that allegedly he was asked to take over Christian Dior after he died, which was interesting. But now that we have the historical aspect out of the way, it's a red jacket. It's interesting collar, it's full of floral embroideries, and the jacket sort of has a cut that essentially exposes cleavage and the rest of the stomach, and it falls into a sort of high-waisted, flowy, wide leg sort of pant that seems like it's draped. I don't love it. I'm not obsessed with it. I don't think it's like super duper interesting. Overall, it feels a little bit discombobulated to me. Listen, I know it was like a look on the runway, but still feels discombobulated. I prefer the Ronald van der Kemp. Nick Jonas was with Priyanka when she was wearing this look though, and he was wearing Giorgio Armani. Listen, it's a black suit, it's a tuxedo, it's there. Would I like Nick Jonas to be a little bit more exciting? Absolutely. That should be arranged. Somebody should fix that. This ship name is Prick, according to Priyanka Chopra, at least from what I've heard. And like, I want them to have a pricky sort of fashion experience. I think it would be fun. I feel like it would be kooky. I feel like they could definitely play off of each other and have like a fun moment. And I want that. I need that. I desire that. I deserve that. Next up, Regina King. I love her. I'm obsessed with her. I think she's great. This Christian Dior Haute Couture Spring 2021 look, in my review of that show, I said it was good. And I said it was good because I truly believe that customers of Christian Dior who buy haute couture could actually buy that and wear that out. And it's kind of like a casual, everyday sort of look. You know, you don't have to wear the sheer shirt underneath, but I do think the pant and the sort of crop top wrap set, actually like kind of makes sense. Do I think it makes sense for a red carpet? No, I don't. I genuinely don't. I don't think that is the look for it. I feel like there are so many beautiful looks from that collection, and every time I see that goddamn collection on a red carpet, on a runway, on a celebrity, it's one of the shit looks from it. There were beautiful jacquards. I won't shut up about the goddamn jacquards. They were stunning. They were gorgeous. Regina King in a jacquard sort of big ball gown skirt with a beautiful fitted jacket in the Dior bar jacket style. Like, that would be hot. There was a look in this exact fabric which had like these slit sleeves and like slit pants or whatever, and like that was nice, that was exciting. But this is pedestrian, and it's fine if you're gonna buy it and be a pedestrian on the street to go get your groceries. Do I think it's great here? No. And listen, I know people are gonna be like, you just said customers could see this and say that they want it. Yes, but like, there's like 3,000 people in the world that buy haute couture. Everybody else, it's like, you know, you could pick up a jacket, possibly, you know, maybe a skirt, maybe a jacket, but haute couture? Meh. Let's look at it, you know, as a look though. I have to say, I like the sheer shirt underneath. I think it's really, really lovely. I think it's very, very sweet. I think that the wrap top is really, really nice. And I also don't hate the high-waisted pants. Like, I don't hate the look. I also think the fact that they added a heel is quite nice. I do think that that's much better than the styling of the actual collection. My issue really stems from the fact that I don't really believe this is like a red carpet-esque look. I think that there were better looks from that collection that most definitely could have been implemented and would have looked really, really lovely. And this was not what I had in mind. And so I want better for Regina King, because I know that she's done better and she will do better in the future, but this, meh. Next up is Renee Zellweger, and she is wearing Armani Privé. Listen, considering this is like a couture dress, I'm not understanding the stitch right down the middle. I don't understand that. That's very confusing to me. I actually really like the fabric. I think it's kind of weird. It looks cement-esque. It looks a little bit almost like sculpted, and I think it's actually quite lovely in that regard. I actually really like the neckline. I like that it, you know, plunges down in a V-neck sort of style a little bit, but then at the end sort of flares up. I think that's really, really cute. Do we need the layer of embroidery underneath it to sort of be the drop shadow? No, I don't think so. I think that the dress could have done that by itself, but I'm just so perplexed by the stitch down the middle. I don't get it. I don't understand. I don't know why you would do that. Like, yeah, maybe for construction purposes, but like, it's Armani Privé. I think we could work our way around a construction issue like that. I don't know. Add the seams on the side, add the stitches on the side. It's so confusing to me. I think it just really kills that vibe. I do like the way that the dress flares out at the hem. Overall, had you gotten rid of the embroidery aspect and the stitch down the front, I think it would have just been a really, really nice dress. I think the fabric is incredibly interesting. I think it fits her really, really beautifully and creates shape in a really simplistic way. But I think the bells and the whistles and the construction is just meh. And listen, if it wasn't Armani Privé, I might give some leeway, but it's Armani Privé, so I give no leeway. Next up is Riz Ahmed, and he is wearing Prada. Now, this is definitely a take on the fall 2021 menswear collection. Now, Riz Ahmed, he just likes a simple suit. And listen, I want more. I want more excitement. I want more interest. I want something a little bit more out there for him. This is my first sort of award season seeing Riz Ahmed, so like, I will cut slack because it's the first season, but like next time, next roundabout, next awards moment that we're together here again and again, I expect good. I do think that the graphic turtleneck is definitely a Prada sort of nod. I think that it's a way to sort of make a kooky, crazy sort of Prada print that is very iconic and definitely dates back to the Prada Spring 1996 Ugly Chic collection. I think it's a cool way to sort of make it much more subtle, a little bit more demure, a little bit less in your face. But I think the point of those turtlenecks and that graphic is to be kind of in your face, so like, I don't know why we have to demure it down. I do think that the little Prada triangle logo at the pocket is really smart. I think that's definitely a Raf Simons little insignia that's going on. Raf will not let that triangle go. Like, the toilet paper at Prada has that goddamn triangle on it. I'm sure that now at Prada, like, all of the employees have to have little tattoos of it somewhere on their body. Like, it's a part of everything. I'm not really mad about it, because I do actually think that this is a really smart way to do it very covertly, instead of like having to say Prada or Dior or Louis Vuitton. It's a way to sort of be in the know if you know. And if you know, well, now you know. And I think it's cute. Overall, I do think the shoes are uggo. There are better Prada shoes that definitely could have been paired with this. Also the black, I'm not understanding the black with the blue suit and reddish, purplish turtleneck. No, that's not, This is not the Prada look that I want it to be. It's not. There were so many good Prada looks from that fall 2021 collection. Like, I don't know why we couldn't have just had a runway look. Why? Why not? Next up is Rose Byrne in Miu Mu. Now this is a cropped suit set with a high waist pant. It's a little bit baggy, it's a little bit out there. I'm interested in it. So it's full of what looks like black embroidery in a sort of grid style. No doubt that took a lot of time and effort to make, and so hats off to whoever did it. The silky little lapels and the one button sort of bring in this tailored element. It's definitely a suit, but I think at the same time, because it's Miu Mu, it's a little bit kitschy, it's a little bit kooky, it's a little bit out there, so the cropped aspect and the high waist pant sort of brings in a little bit more of like a feminine feel to it, and I'm not really mad about that. Do I think it's revolutionary? No. Do I think that it's an interesting little take on tailoring? Do I think that, you know, it's full of Miu to Prada sort of signatures like a beautiful embroidery? Yeah. The shoes, they're okay. They're there. I don't love them, but at the same time, the new Miu Mu collection is full of like quilted snowwear, so I'm not really expecting Rose Byrne to wear that either. Overall, I don't hate it. I think it's fine. I think it works. I think it's okay. Next up is Shope Derisu, and he is wearing Dior Men. I like this look. So listen, when you look at it sort of really quickly, it looks like a black suit, blah, blah, who cares, whatever. But with Kim Jones, the devil is usually in the details. And so if you look a little bit closer, you can see that this suit jacket looks like it's being layered with another sort of suit jacket, which adds this sort of interesting appeal of layering. It's a little bit different. It's a little bit out there. It's a little bit weird. It brings in a sort of strange little element that I can appreciate. The black shirt with the black bow tie, do I like love it? No, but again, I like that Kim Jones is sort of playing on this sort of formal suiting and sort of giving it a little bit of a twist, a little twinge, a little weirdness. It's not as crazy as other styles have been, but it definitely does sort of have its own little suaveness. I like the pants, I think they fit well, and the shoes are not the worst things I've ever seen. It looks like they're actually a boot, which is very helpful. Overall, it's not crazy. Again, not revolutionary, but that's not really Kim Jones. It definitely is more about subtle little factors, like the fact that this suit jacket is layered over another aspect of fabric that looks like it's layered over a suit jacket, so I'm interested in it. Next up is Thom Hiddleston, and he's wearing Ralph Lauren, and it's just a boring double-breasted suit. And like, I'm upset about that. Also, like, listen, you're low-key. You're interesting. You're supposed to be cool. You're supposed to be kind of funky. You're supposed to be kind of kooky. This is kind of blah to me, and I expect better. I do. I genuinely do. Thom Hiddleston, I expect far more than a black suit. Does it fit well? I guess. Yes, sure. But also, it's like Ralph Lauren. So if it doesn't fit well, then like, what are we all doing here? Might as well just go in your underwear. Like, it's just blah, 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 boring, sad, depressing, yikes, I don't care anymore. Let's move on. Next up, Vanessa Kirby, and she is wearing Versace. I believe that this is a custom look, and if it's not a custom look, then it's like Atelier Versace. I haven't looked at that collection, so like, sorry. But it's a square neckline. It's a very fitted dress, which I love, and it's made in the beautiful Oroton. Oroton, if you do not know, is a chainmail textile developed by Gianni Versace, and I love it. I think in this gray color, it's really, really lovely. It shines beautifully. I love the way that the light reflects off of it at aspects of the body. I think that the high slit adds that Versace sort of sexy element. I think the strap moment is great. Is it kooky, over the top, ridiculous? No, definitely not. But at the same time, I think this is more of like the slinky, sexy, simplistic Versace that I don't think is a bad thing either. I think it works really, really well. I think the textile speaks for itself most definitely. And I think she looks actually really, really lovely. I think this is a great example of utilize a sort of out there textile and do it in a simplistic way, and it works really, really beautifully. Lastly, let's talk about Wunmi Mosaku, and she is wearing Alberta Ferretti. It's a off-the-shoulder blue dress. It looks like it's sort of strapped over the side, and that's where my issue really lies with this. I actually Don't mind the slit, I don't mind the color. I think the off-the-shoulder style is actually quite lovely. I don't like the asymmetrical wrappy part. It just gives me wrap dress and I don't love it. I just wish the neckline had sort of stopped right here and we didn't have the pull over gathery shit, because I don't think it's necessary. It's just like adding elements that are meh. I think the slit, I think the color, and I think a really simplistic off-the-shoulder neckline would have just sufficed beautifully. I don't think you need anything else. I don't think you need to ruin it with trying to manipulate the fabric because it just does too much. Editing, very important. We need it. I want to love it. I can't. It's just the gather and the waist and the pulling and the way that even when you look at it, it's just like crumpled and rumpled and like, it's not good. It's just, we could have just left it normal and it would have been fine. It would have been easy. Everybody would have been happy. But no, we have to do too much. And here we are. And so I do not love it. So that is the end of today's video. You guys wanted me to be meaner again. And I feel like today I came through fully. I wasn't really that impressed with the BAFTAs, unfortunately. It just fell a little bit flat to me, even like the style stars. So let's talk about the best and the worst. I'm gonna have to give the best look of the night. I gotta give it to Vanessa Kirby. I actually think that Orton dress is really simple. I think it really, really works well. I think the color is stunning. I think the neckline is great. I think the slit is gorgeous. I think the references back to Versace are just really, really lovely. It's classic, it's clean, it's just nice. The worst dress has to go to Bucky Bacre. There's nothing about that dress from Prada that is salvageable. It's just wrapped. I could have maybe possibly done a better job, and that's not a good thing. So with that, I wanna say thank you guys so much for watching. Please let me know what some of your favorite and least favorite looks of the red carpet from the BAFTAs was. I will see you guys in the next one, and TTYL.